Why every Muslim must throw stones at the devil during Hajj. The hidden meaning behind the ritual. The journey where faith faces the devil. Every year, millions of hearts move as one, leaving behind their homes, wealth, and comfort, answering a single call. Labbaika Allahumma labbaik. Here I am, O Allah. They journey to a sacred valley called Mina, where the believer comes face to face with his greatest enemy, Shaytan. But what is this act that every faithful Muslim must perform? Why do millions gather to throw small stones at 3 pillars? Are they striking a wall of stone or something hidden within themselves? Before we continue, pause for a moment, my brothers and sisters. Like this video so it reaches more hearts. Share it to remind others of the true meaning behind Hajj. Subscribe to Wisdom from a Minbar with handle wisdom_Minbar, so you never miss a story where faith and life meet face to face. Because what you're about to hear is not just history. It is a mirror of your own struggle, your own battle against the whispers of Shaytan. This is not an act of rage, but an act of obedience, courage, and victory. I am Mallam JIJI, and this is Wisdom from the Minbar, where every story from Islam carries a light for the modern soul. The pilgrimage of submission. Hajj is not just a journey of miles. It is a journey of the soul. Every Muslim who takes this sacred path walks in the footsteps of giants, prophets who gave everything for Allah. From the moment a pilgrim says labbaik Allahumma labbaik, the world behind them fades, and what remains is the soul, the heart, and the test. In that moment, there is no wealth, no tribe, no status. Every believer is clothed in the same simple white garments, ihram, standing equal before the Creator of all. The call to surrender. Hajj is called the pilgrimage of submission because it strips away everything except obedience. When you leave your home, you leave your comfort. When you walk through the desert, you leave your pride. When you circle the Kaaba, you leave your ego behind. And when you reach Mina, you are ready for the hardest test, to face the whisperer himself, Shaytan. Every year, millions of believers come here to throw 7 small stones at 3 pillars. But those stones are not meant for rock or dust. They are meant for temptation, sin, and disobedience. They are reminders of a story older than any empire. The story of Prophet Ibrahim, and his unshakable faith. The ancient origin. Long before Mecca became the heart of the world, there was a man, old, wise, and full of light, who walked the deserts guided by faith. His name was Ibrahim, the friend of Allah. Allah tested him again and again, with fire, with exile, and finally, with the greatest trial of all, to sacrifice his beloved son, Ismail. But as Ibrahim prepared to obey, Shaytan appeared 3 times. Once to Ibrahim, once to his wife Hajar, and once to his son Ismail, whispering doubt, fear, and hesitation. Each time, Ibrahim picked up small stones and threw them at Shaytan, declaring, Audu Billahi minash shaitanir rajim. I seek refuge in Allah from the accursed devil. And with every stone, the devil was defeated. The meaning of defiance. From that day, the stoning became a symbol, not of violence, but of defiance against evil. When pilgrims throw their stones, they are not simply remembering an event. They are reliving it. They're saying with every throw, I reject my temptations. I reject my weaknesses. I reject every whisper that takes me away from Allah. And Allah, in His mercy, commanded the Ummah to continue this act until the end of time, as a reminder that faith must always be tested, and obedience must always win. The emotional weight of the ritual. Imagine standing there in Mina, the heat of the sun burning your skin, millions of believers around you, stones in your hand, your heart trembling with emotion. You raise your arm, not against another human being, but against your own weaknesses. And when that stone leaves your hand, you feel it, the weight of your sin breaking, the victory of your soul rising. This is not a ritual for the body. It is a rebellion of the spirit against the devil. And so, When a believer throws their first stone at Mina, they are not just completing a rite of Hajj. They are declaring war against Shaytan and his whispers. For the pilgrim, this moment is a reminder. The journey to Allah will always have obstacles, but every stone of obedience destroys one wall of temptation. The story of Ibrahim, yes, teaches us this eternal truth, that faith is not proven by words, but by action. And so, as the stones strike the pillars, the heart whispers, I will not be deceived. I will not be led astray. I belong to Allah alone. Stay with me as we move deeper into this journey to uncover why Prophet Ibrahim's act became a command for every Muslim, and how the stoning of Shaytan is still one of the most powerful acts of spiritual resistance in human history. I am Mallam JIJI, and this is Wisdom from the Minbar, where history breathes and faith finds its meaning. The story behind the stones. To understand why millions of Muslims throw stones at the devil, we must travel back, not just to the deserts of Mecca, but to the very heart of faith itself. Because this ritual was not born out of anger or superstition. It was born from a moment of divine courage, a moment when a father, a mother, and a son stood together against Shaytan, the sworn enemy of mankind. The trial of Ibrahim, yes. Allah had blessed Prophet Ibrahim, yes, with a son, Ismail, after years of longing. Their bond was pure, their love deep, and their obedience complete. But then came a dream, a vision sent by Allah himself, commanding Ibrahim to sacrifice his beloved son. This was not just a test of love. It was a test of loyalty to Allah, a test to prove that nothing, not even the child of your heart, could stand between a believer and his Lord. And so Ibrahim told his son, "Oh, my dear son, I have seen in a dream that I must sacrifice you. Tell me, what do you think?" And the boy, full of faith, replied, "Oh, my father, do as you are commanded. You will find me, if Allah wills, among the patient." The angels watched, the heavens fell silent, and the earth witnessed the greatest act of surrender ever known. The first appearance of Shaytan. But Shaytan, the deceiver, could not bear this scene. He came first to Hajar, the mother, whispering lies in her heart. "Do you know what your husband plans to do? He will slaughter your son, your only child." But Hajar, the woman of strength and faith, picked up small stones and threw them, saying, "I trust in Allah. Get away from me, you cursed one." Defeated, Shaytan fled. But he was not done. The second attempt. Next, he approached Prophet Ibrahim himself, whispering, "O Ibrahim, this is not from your Lord. How can a merciful God ask a father to slay his child?" But Ibrahim's faith was unshakable. He picked up stones and cast them toward Shaytan, declaring, "Audu billahi minash shaytanir rajim." Again, Shaytan screamed and vanished into the dust. Yet he tried once more, approaching the young Ismail, saying, "Your father has lost his mind. Run, save yourself." But Ismail, the son of submission, replied, "If it is the command of Allah, then I am ready." And with those words, Shaytan was defeated a third time, his arrogance crushed beneath the stones of faith. The eternal symbol. Those 3 moments, the defiance of Hajar, Ibrahim, and Ismail, became the origin of the Jamarat, the 3 stone pillars in Mina. Today, when millions of believers throw their pebbles, they are repeating that same act of resistance, reminding Shaytan that his whispers will always be rejected by hearts filled with Tawheed, the oneness of Allah. Every throw says, "I choose faith over fear. I choose obedience over doubt." Then, when they had both submitted and he laid him down upon his forehead, we called out to him, "O Ibrahim, you have fulfilled the vision. Indeed, we reward the doers of good." This was truly a clear trial, reflection for the soul. So, when a pilgrim raises their hand to throw a stone, they are not performing an ancient ritual. They are renewing their covenant with Allah. Each pebble says, "O Allah, I reject the devil within me. I reject pride, greed, jealousy, anger, and doubt. that small stone becomes a weapon, not against a physical enemy, but against the unseen forces that seek to drag the believer down. The power of the symbol. Even outside of Hajj, this act holds a message for every Muslim, that we must always recognize the whispers of Shaytan and respond not with fear, but with faith. The stoning reminds us that the greatest battle is not fought in the deserts of Mina, but in the quiet corners of our own hearts. And that, my brothers and sisters, is the story behind the stones, a story not of violence, but of faith, patience, and trust in Allah. Stay with me, for in the next chapter, we will uncover why this ritual continues today, how it transforms a believer's soul, and why every throw is a declaration of freedom from the chains of Shaytan. I am Mallam JIJI, and this is Wisdom from the Minbar, where every stone cast in faith echoes for eternity. The spiritual meaning behind the stoning. Every ritual in Islam carries a body and a soul. The body is the action, what the eye can see. The soul is the meaning, what the heart must feel. The stoning of the devil at Mina is not only an act of the hand. It is an act of the heart, a battle between faith and temptation, light and darkness, obedience and rebellion. The inner jihad, the real battlefield. Many believe the stoning is about throwing rocks at some distant enemy, but the true enemy lies within. When a pilgrim raises their hand, they're not simply striking at Shaytan in the open desert. They're striking at the Shaytan within themselves. The whispers of arrogance, the pull of desire, the chains of pride, envy, and anger. The Prophet Muhammad said, "The strong man is not the one who overpowers others in strength, but the one who controls himself when angry." The real battlefield of life, my brothers and sisters, is not fought with swords. It is fought within the heart. Each stone, a lesson. Every pebble in your hand has a voice. The first stone whispers, "Cast away pride." The second says, "Cast away greed." The third, "Cast away envy." The fourth removes anger. The fifth breaks laziness. The sixth shatters arrogance. And the seventh, it silences Shaytan's whisper itself. Each stone is a promise that you will not return home the same person, that you have fought the unseen war within, and by Allah's mercy, emerged victorious. The cleansing of the soul. At Mina, every believer becomes a warrior of light, fighting not others, but themselves. And when the stones strike, something inside breaks free. Tears flow, hearts tremble, and sins fall like dust. In that moment, the believer feels it, the weight of the world lifting, replaced by the calm of obedience. Because in Islam, obedience is not weakness. It is the highest form of strength. When you obey Allah, you defeat Shaytan without even seeing him. Symbolism beyond the desert. The stoning at Mina is not just a moment in the Hajj. It is a symbol for every Muslim's daily life. When anger rises in your heart, throw your stone. When jealousy burns, throw your stone. When despair whispers that Allah has forgotten you, pick up your stone and say, "Audu billahi minash shaitanir rajim." You don't need to be in Mina to defeat the devil. You could do it every day, with every act of patience, every prayer, every moment you choose forgiveness over hate. Universal message of the ritual. Even for those who are not Muslim, this ritual holds a universal message that the greatest enemy of man is not found in another race, nation, or religion. It is found in the whisper within that tempts him away from truth. When millions gather in Mina, dressed alike, crying and praying together, they remind the world that humanity's greatest strength is not in its weapons, but in its submission to good. Reflection for the heart. So next time you see pilgrims throwing stones, don't see it as a violent act. See it as a declaration of purity. They are saying, "I have faced my temptations. I have fought my inner devils. And by the will of Allah, I am free." Each stone becomes a step closer to Allah, a small piece of the believer's heart that says, "Ya Allah, I have tried. I have struggled, and I submit only to you." The stoning of Shaytan is more than an act. It's a mirror reflecting our own struggles. And in every throw, there lies a choice: to follow the whisper or to follow the word of Allah. When millions stand together against the devil, there are moments in life that make the world stand still, moments where human difference fades, and the light of unity shines brighter than the sun itself. One of those moments is the stoning at Mina, when millions of believers from every race, tongue, and color gather with one purpose: to defy Shaytan together. The ocean of believers. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine the scene. A sea of white garments. Men and women from Africa, India, Arabia, Indonesia, Europe, and America, all moving as one wave of obedience. There are no kings, no servants, no rich, no poor. Only believers standing shoulder to shoulder. The Quran says, "Indeed, this Ummah of yours is one Ummah, and I am your Lord, so worship me." Surah Al-Anbiya, 21 hours, 92 minutes. And in that moment, those words come alive. Every stone thrown becomes a symbol, not of rage, but of oneness. A declaration that the Ummah will always rise against evil, no matter how strong Shaitan's whispers may be. The unity of the Ummah. When the first pilgrim throws their stone, and millions follow, it becomes a sound that shakes the unseen world. It is as if every believer on earth joins in spirit, saying, "We reject your lies, O Shaytan. We reject your pride, your division, and your deceit." And in that moment, the Ummah of Muhammad stands as one body, a living symbol of strength and unity. The Prophet said, "The believers are like one body. When one part hurts, the whole body feels the pain." And in Mina, the body of the Ummah moves together, breathing, walking, praying, and throwing as one heartbeat of faith. Equality in obedience. Look closer at the pilgrims. The scholar beside the laborer, the president beside the peasant, the child beside the elder, all in the same cloth of humility. The Iram removes every worldly title. There is no I and only we in the sight of Allah. And when they raise their hands, they raise not for themselves, but for the entire Ummah. Each throw says, "Ya Allah, forgive us, guide us, protect us from the whispers of Shaytan." And Allah loves the believer who throws, not with anger, but with intention, the spiritual power of togetherness. This unity terrifies Shaytan more than any weapon, because Shaytan's greatest victory is not to make a man sin, it is to make Muslims divide. But when millions stand together, from every nation and language, all saying Labbaika Allahumma labbaik, Shaytan's heart trembles. He remembers the day when he refused to bow to Adam out of pride. And now he watches the children of Adam bow only to Allah in perfect obedience. The scene of renewal. As the sun sets over Mina, the air fills with tears, dewey, and relief. Pilgrims rest their heads knowing they have faced Shaytan, not in arrogance, but in faith. Each stone they threw became a prayer. "O Allah, let me never follow the path of Shaytan again." And Allah responds, not with words, but with peace descending on their hearts. Reflection for the Ummah. The stoning at Mina is more than a ritual. It is a reminder of who we are as Muslims. One Ummah, one purpose, one faith. When the world looks divided by race, politics, and power, Hajj reminds us that true power lies in unity, and true honor lies in obedience to Allah. Each year, millions of believers prove that faith is not an idea. It is an army of hearts beating together for one cause. So, when you see the stones flying through the air at Mina, do not see chaos. See a symphony of faith, each stone a note, each believer a verse, all playing the melody of submission to Allah. The pilgrim reborn, the heart after the stones. When the stones have been cast, when the dust settles, and the sun dips low over the desert, the pilgrim feels something extraordinary, something words cannot fully capture. It is a rebirth of the heart, a soul washed clean by obedience, a spirit strengthened by defiance against Shaytan. For in Mina, faith is not theoretical. It is tested, proven, and triumphant. the cleansing of the soul. Every pebble thrown represents a sin defeated, a temptation resisted, a weakness removed, the anger that burned, the pride that swelled, the envy that whispered, all fall with the stones. The pilgrim returns to the world lighter, as if carrying a heart renewed, a spirit strengthened, and a soul closer to Allah. This is why Hajj is called a journey of purification, because the stones are not just rocks. They are instruments of spiritual liberation, lessons for life beyond Mina. But the pilgrimage does not end here. The stones teach a lesson that follows the believer home, that every day is a battlefield against Shaytan. Every choice, every word, every thought can either elevate the soul or corrupt it. The ritual reminds us that faith must be active, deliberate, and continuous. Just as the pilgrim casts stones at Mina, one must cast away anger, jealousy, and arrogance every single day. Hajj is temporary, but the struggle, the inner jihad, continues for a lifetime. The joy of victory. There is a subtle, indescribable joy in completing the stoning. It is not joy of the flesh or of worldly pleasure. It is the joy of submission, the joy of knowing that you have said no to Shaytan, and yes, to your Creator. Millions of pilgrims experience this simultaneously, yet each one's victory is deeply personal. For some, it is a father releasing his pride. For others, a student conquering envy. For all, it is a declaration of renewed faith and commitment to Allah. Impact on the Ummah. The ripple of this ritual spreads far beyond the desert. Millions return to their homes, Africa, India, the United States, Europe, carrying hearts transformed by unity, humility, and devotion. The stoning reminds the Ummah that Islam is not just belief, but action, not just words, but courage, not just ritual, but transformation, reflection for the soul. The pilgrim who has thrown the stones knows victory is possible even over the unseen. The whisper of Shaytan can be silenced. The temptations of the world can be resisted, and the heart can be purified. This is the beauty of Hajj. It is a journey outward to Mina, but a journey inward to the soul. And every believer who embraces it becomes reborn, stronger, humbler, and closer to Allah. So, when you watch millions of pilgrims throw stones, know that you are witnessing faith in motion. The stones may be small, but their impact is eternal. In our final chapter, we will conclude with the lasting legacy of this ritual and what it teaches every believer about courage, submission, and life's ultimate purpose. I am Mallam JIJI, and this is Wisdom from the Minbar, where faith purifies, hearts awaken, and the whispers of Shaytan are silenced. The last stone, lessons for life and the victory of the soul. As the last stones are cast at Mina, the dust settles, and the pilgrims stand in awe of what has been accomplished. This is more than a ritual. It is a symbol of victory. A victory not over others, but over oneself. The pilgrim has faced Shaytan, confronted temptation, and emerged renewed, humbled, and purified. The culmination of faith. Hajj is a journey of tests, trials, and triumphs. Every step, every prayer, every stone has brought the believer closer to Allah. The last stone is not just a physical act. It is the final declaration of submission. When the hand releases the pebble, the heart whispers, "O Allah, I am yours. I have tried. I have struggled. I submit only to you." And in that whisper lies the essence of Hajj, the essence of Islam, the essence of every faithful heart. Surrender, obedience, and triumph over the whispers of Shaytan. The legacy of the ritual. This act, passed down from Prophet Ibrahim, yes, through generations of believers, is a message for every Muslim everywhere. That faith is not stagnant. Obedience is not optional. And every act of defiance against evil is a step toward the divine. The stoning of Shaytan reminds us that every day holds a battle against our inner weaknesses. Victory is possible when we choose faith over desire. Unity strengthens obedience. Together we rise. divided we fall. Applying the lessons beyond Hajj. Though Mina is thousands of miles away from many, its lessons are eternal and universal. Each believer can carry the essence of the stoning ritual home. Throw away pride, greed, and envy. Stand firm against anger and temptation. Unite with others in love, obedience, and humility. And in every act of righteousness, in every moment of patience, in every choice to obey Allah, the pilgrim's journey continues. Because Hajj is not a destination. It is a lifelong commitment to the purification of the heart, the victory of the soul. When the last stone falls, the believer smiles inwardly. They feel the power of faith, the light of obedience, and the peace of the soul. Shaytan has been defeated once again, not by might, not by force, but by the courage, patience, and submission of the human heart. This is the victory that lasts forever. A victory not written in history books, but etched in hearts and carried throughout life. Universal reflection. Even for those outside Islam, there is a lesson to behold, that the greatest battle in life is not against others. It is against the darkness within, that the power of unity, faith, and courage can overcome any obstacle. That humanity's highest strength lies not in wealth or weapons, but in hearts committed to truth, justice, and submission to the divine. And so, my brothers and sisters, the stones of Mina are more than rituals. They are teachers, guides, and reminders. They teach us that obedience defeats temptation, that faith unites hearts, and that true victory lies in conquering the whisper of Shaytan within ourselves. Remember this in your life. Every stone you throw in obedience, every act of patience, every moment of submission, is a step toward the eternal light of Allah. I am Mallam JIJI, from Wisdom from the Minbar, reminding you that faith is action, obedience is power, and the victory of the soul is everlasting. INTRO, the journey where faith faces the devil, final version with CTA, headphone, opening soundscape, the desert wind, distant footsteps of pilgrims, and a soft adhan echoing from far away. Every year, millions of hearts move as one, leaving behind their homes, wealth, and comfort, answering a single call. Labbaika, Allahumma labbaik. Here I am, O Allah. They journey to a sacred valley called Mina, where the believer comes face to face with his greatest enemy, Shaytan. But what is this act that every faithful Muslim must perform? Why do millions gather to throw small stones at 3 pillars? Are they striking a wall of stone or something hidden within themselves? Before we continue, pause for a moment, my brothers and sisters. Direct it like this video so it reaches more hearts. Loudspeakers share it to remind others of the true meaning behind Hajj. Bell subscribe to Wisdom from Minbar, so you never miss a story where faith and life meet face to face. Because what you're about to hear is not just history. It is a mirror of your own struggle, your own battle against the whispers of Shaytan. This is not an act of rage, but an act of obedience, courage, and victory. I am Mallam JIJI, and this is Wisdom from the Minbar, where every story from Islam carries a light for the modern soul. When faith defeats the devil, when a Muslim throws those 7 small stones, it is more than a ritual. It is a stand against pride, greed, anger, and sin. It is Ibrahim saying to the devil, "You cannot deceive me." It is every believer saying, "My faith belongs only to Allah." The stones may be small, but the meaning behind them is greater than mountains. For each one declares, "I reject Shaytan. I reject his whispers. I choose Allah." And when millions of hands rise together at Mina, the devil trembles, for obedience has defeated rebellion once again. My brothers and sisters, the stones of Hajj are not just for those in Mecca. They are reminders for us all that every day we must throw away our own devils. Jealousy, arrogance, lies, injustice, and despair. This is Mallam JIJI, from Wisdom from the Minbar, reminding you that the true Hajj begins when the journey home starts. When your heart remains pure, your soul remains firm, and your faith still stands against the whispers of Shaytan. Share this message if you believe faith can conquer every temptation. Subscribe to Wisdom from a Minbar with handle wisdom_minbar for more stories that awaken the heart. And tell us in the comments, what are the stones you must throw in your own life today?